Good evening everybody and welcome to another stream with me, Supernautus. Today we're playing a new adventure game. This is an adventure from the developer Microids. I've never really known how to pronounce the name of their company, but you know, it's one of those games that is a little more interesting, and certainly it's newer than what we've been playing over the last little while, a couple of games from kind of the mid-90s. So this is more of a kind of murder mystery sort of game, and yeah, that's pretty much all I kind of really have to say about things with regard to that. The Sinking Island is what we're playing. Let's get started. Well, there is sound, thank goodness. White birds. Okay, so we have to create a profile for this game. Of course we do, and of course we go with the name everybody knows. It's Supernautus. So we're looking at options first of all. We want subtitles on so we can see what's happening. Yeah, that'll do. We're on highest detail. Does the game play in that little window? I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter. Let's just stick with what we got. Let's start a new game. I think we'll stick with adventure mode. That sounds a little frustrating, playing it in the old race against time mode. Basically, your solutions to the crime are going to be timed, and people will start to get frustrated if you don't make up your mind quickly, I guess. Either way, let's get on with it.
This lousy weather right across the whole sector. You can't let things drag
Let's see
on
what's
over
happening.
there, Jack.
Is it a murder?
No, I don't believe so. Walter Jones was already in pretty bad shape. The heart and all the rest of it. So, just a routine check, okay? It's a routine matter, alright? I want to hear death from natural causes, with no stories, you understand? I don't want a crime on my hands right now, seeing my bill of health, understand?
You're the boss.
Okay.
Nick.
Jack,
Of course. I understand.
you're really helping me out here, you know?
Get well, Vic. See you soon. Okay for 4 p.m. I
Don't expect to be later than necessary, he says.
Inspector Norm, welcome to Sagara. I'm Hubert Denault, the attorney, Mr. Jones.
Okay, Mr. Nolan, let's go. I don't have much time.
That's a little frustrating. Just one sec.
Are you sure you don't want to take time to
Here we are. Let's pay attention to the story because
Inspector Norm.
it is
Unnecessary.
important, I guess.
Turns out that Mr. Jones's death was accidental, that I have no reason to hang
We'll
around
just
here,
get
Mr.
our-
Nolan.
Window up and running. Okay. So here we are.
I beg you to pardon me. for
Sinking
this
Island.
Acrobatic descent. I had to put this ladder here urgently this morning to access the corpse.
Use an urgent ladder, apparently.
When I tried to help, poor Walter was stuck higher up in the rocks close to the edge.
Hi there, welcome to the stream
The waves
tonight.
must
How are
have
you
sent
feeling
the poor
today?
man's body rolling toward the bottom during the night. We suffered a terrible storm, you know.
Oh, a terrible storm. Well, let's cut to the chase. Let's have a quick look at this body. Take a little photograph of this guy's face. Look, he's got some scratches and blood in a couple of different places. His glasses, his head looks a funny shape at the top too, but we'll take a picture first.
A nail implanted in the cheek.
A nail in his cheek.
His attacker wasn't light about it. At first glance, the body doesn't show signs of death by drowning or hypothermia. And this injury on the forehead seems
too superficial on his
to have
head.
caused the death. It's the forensic expert's job now. It's for him to tell me what killed Walter Jones.
Well, okay. Let's go out and talk to the guy again.
What can I do for you, Inspector?
I guess it's the Walter Jones affair.
What can you tell me regarding the death of Walter Jones?
In my view, we're looking at a murder. I'm categorical, Inspector. I saw Baina push Walter over the edge. The identity of the culprit is not a matter of question for me.
Is it not?
Where were you
Anything
and
else
what
to
were
tell
you
me?
doing last night?
I was at the restaurant with the guests when Walter
There's some
left
interesting
to
movement with
walk
the characters. They
around
don't,
at the end.
apparently
I
they don't
went back
actually
my
talk to
office
each other.
maybe a quarter of an hour or half an hour later. I had to wait for him, as we had agreed upon in
check
the
something.
afternoon. Not seeing him come, I looked out of the window, and that's when I saw what could have been a quarrel between Baina Jumhu and Walter at the Tortoise Belvedere. He fell to the
Sure.
bottom in his wheelchair. I hurried to help him, but it was raining like mad, and I could not go down to the rocks to get him out of there. He was no longer moving. I think
Died
he
instantly.
died instantly. I came back to
harsh.
tell everyone what had happened, and I also immediately called the police.
What was your relationship with Walter
Interesting.
Jones?
I've worked for Walter Jones for over 20 years. Our relationship
It's
was
probably a
always
slightly
excellent.
drier kind
In
of
fact, he even
storyline
did me the honor
than
of
some of the
asking me to
others.
call him by his first name.
Might have done, but
I admired this man immensely, Inspector. I would even say that I had
Never
affection
mind.
for him, and that this was mutual.
we'll be fine. There's not really more I can ask him right now, is there?
Tell me, did your boss have a suicidal temperament? Or was he in the habit of taking unreasonable risks? Or was he in fragile health? Could it be that following severe medical treatment he
Does it
suffered
seem
from
likely?
dizziness and fainting spells?
What
What
kind
more
of
can I
fainting
say?
spells would
You have to tell me
stick
everything,
nails in
Mr.
his
Nolan.
face?
No, Inspector. Physically and mentally, Walter Jones was as solid as a rock. He only suffered from a paralysis of the lower limbs, but nothing that could explain this
The
mortal
fact that
fall.
their lips don't move is quite distracting.
I'll take note of it.
It's really quite distracting. So what have we here? Our personal police assistant.
Hello, Inspector Jack Norm. Welcome to your personal police assistant.
Okay.
Jack, this device was created to help you in your investigations. The goal of the software system is to rationalize the combination of clues, evidence, hypotheses, and deductions, which will allow you to quickly uncover the criminals.
Okay.
For this, your personal police assistant will
Kinda like
store
the
all information you will collect about
Sherlock
the
Holmes
suspects
games, I guess, where
during
you
your
can
investigations. It will
have a
remember
list
their
of the
age,
characters, you
gender,
know.
and function. The incriminating and exculpatory evidence are also made note of. In addition, it will indicate in real time their geographical position in the surrounding
So we'll get through the
areas
tutorial so
where
we
you
know
might
exactly
need to
what's
find
going
them
on.
during your investigation.
Can't
the
hurt
Clue
to do
Manager
that.
will centralize all of the information that you have collected, whether it includes photos, documents, material evidence, or even suspects' statements.
Sure.
In your hands, you have more than a motive for matching clues that you will have collected. You also have a great tool for comparing them. This function will be particularly useful for
So glad
validating the
the,
match between two prints, two footprints,
robotic
or
assistant was
even the
telling us
relationship
everything.
between two pieces of an object.
Sure, we couldn't have worked it out for
You
ourselves.
can trust your personal police assistant to validate the correct hypothesis and to keep you from being misled into dead ends. This device includes a third function, which strictly depends on the two others. It is your progress manager. It
course.
divides your investigation
how
into a
close I am to
certain
finding
number of
what's going on.
precise interrogations, like different pieces of a puzzle. Your job becomes a child's game, Jack. When you know how to respond correctly to all of these questions, you will have solved your investigation.
Okay then. Let's have a look at our progressions so far. Okay, what does that do? Okay, so we've got a piece of the puzzle, which is, was Walter Jones' death accidental? Goes over the events.
I was at the restaurant with the guests when Walter left for his walk at around.
Okay, so we know what all that stuff is, because it was what we spoke to the gentleman about already. And yeah, that's interesting. And we can drag him around to make him something that we need to know about. And I guess like this one. So we drag this and we want to drop it into there. No natural causes. Does that tell us an answer? I don't think it does, but so we're going to close that window. What we're also going to do is drag. Well, what are we going to do? Just getting used to how the game method works. What we want is, oh yeah, we want to drop that into the picture of Walter Jones, I guess. Drop in the picture of Walter Jones. We click OK, and we get an answer, I guess.
Is Walter Jones's death accidental?
Is it?
The death of Walter Jones seems to be criminal.
I would say so, yeah. Or it could have been an animal, but we don't know that.
Reeves, it's Jack. The forensic expert's gonna have work. The death seems suspicious. A fall from a few meters that leaves scratches and an embedded nail in the face? It's not all that clear, you understand?
Jack, if it's like you said, I'm afraid you'll have to prolong your stay. Sorry. I didn't want to impose this on you. You have carte blanche to confirm this. Good luck.
Seems we've got some problems keeping track of how this is streaming. Oh, hang on. That's better. Right, so we get a call.
Inspector, I'm entirely at your service to answer any questions that may come to your mind.
Great, I've got some more
I
questions
would
for
like to ask you 2 or 3 questions. Do you know anything about
What do you
medicine?
think the cause of his
No,
death was?
I don't know anything about medicine.
In that case, you can't help me.
Good. That's good to know. That was worth asking. That was worth speaking to him about, wasn't it? Do you know about this? No. Oh well, no use to me, are you? Let's go up the ladder.
What do you say about it, Inspector?
Your boss was murdered.
Well, I guess this list will be useful. It has the identities of all the people who currently reside on the island.
That'll definitely be useful.
And here's the key to
Thank you
it.
very much.
Because now I suppose you're going to be staying a while. I remain at your disposition, Inspector. Especially to give you a tour of the tower. It's huge, you know.
Thanks.
It's huge, you know.
Fine, I'll leave you then. See you later.
I didn't know that. Glad you told me. I can see it from here. It looks pretty big. Let's see what we
here
got.
we are. Something interesting.
Yeah, we've got what look like tire tracks.
Seemingly, Walter Jones was not alone the moment he had
Quite a
his
few
great
footprints
fall.
there.
The wheelchair made a chaotic journey before falling off the cliff.
Well, that's interesting. Now we're going to go into our little PPA and see if they are any use to me. Or are we? Hang on. Exit the PPA for a moment. Is there anything else around? Oh, what's this? Looked like pearls or some kind of stones. I don't know. Let's go out of here. We're going to go into our little PPA and we're going to see. Well, we'll look at the photograph I just took for a start. Yep, okay. And there's also some chaotic footprints. Basically, that's the same picture twice. That's interesting, isn't it? We also picked up, yeah, some beads from a necklace. Beads from a necklace. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? So let's have a quick look. We've also got the file about the Walter Jones affair. Well, that's interesting. It gives us a bit more information about him. Who his parents are. That his spouse was an art critic who died. And he had legal action taken against him while a CEO following expropriation judgment rendered for the illegal acquisition of the Segura Island. I'm guessing that's the island we're in right now. And registration of correction permanent in Saleh, signed by the CEO of the Jones Company. Some statements about him and the people involved. Well, okay, that's interesting. And we've also got a list of all the people on the island. I wish I could read it, but Walter Jones' granddaughter, Sonia, Martin something, Sonia's husband, Marco Jones, Walter Jones' grandson, Sonia's and Billy's brother. Christina's husband arrived June 8th, 2006. Christina Brom, I don't know. Marco's wife arrived June 8th, 2006. Billy Jones, Walter Jones' grandson, Sonia's and Marco's brother, and Clara's husband. Clara Jones, Billy's wife. Baina, I don't know. Daughter of a fisherman. Colo, fisherman. Okay. I can't really read that. I don't know how much use that list is when I can't read it. But, you know, maybe we'll come to some kind of conclusion at some point. But this does also tell me which suites they stay in, which could be quite useful, I suppose. Okay, well, there's nothing much else to do there right now, so let's go have a look at this guy's wheelchair. That he's obviously fallen out of, somehow. Just conveniently, just flopped right out of it off the cliff. Let's go and have a look. What do we have? Oh, we've got like a piece of a chain there. We'll have that, because I think we'll probably need it.
There's a piece missing on the armrest.
So part of the armrest is missing as well. And we've got, what else do we have? Anything else interesting?
Walter Jones must have hit himself here against
He's
this
hit his
rock.
head against a rock. Oh, we've got some fingerprints just there that you might be able to see.
I need some graphite powder to take this print. The architect must have some drawing material. I could make myself some.
Okay. Well, that's interesting, but let's go back up here. Can I see where we're going? Where are we going? I don't know. Okay, so we have some wheelchair tracks there. Where do we want to go here? Guess we want to go a little bit further. Let's run, that makes things a bit quicker, doesn't it? Okay, we want to go over here to these palm trees, I think. Okay, what have we got? Oh, we've got something over there. Go run over and get that, whatever it is.
To what does this piece of cloth belong?
A piece of cloth. We are touching cloth. Oh, hang on. Okay, we can carry on back here now. Now we're going to go up here. And this way. Oh, what do we have here? Okay, not much to investigate other than some sort of mark just there. Let's have a look and see what that is. Oh, we've got some footprints. Bare feet and shoes.
Even more footprints. There were 2 people following Jones that evening.
Well, that's interesting. Let's continue on. Oh, there's a girl here. Is she the daughter of the fisherman that they were talking about? Perhaps. Possibly. Let's keep walking then.
I'm happy to see you here, Sonia.
No.
Me too, Lorenzo. It's a
We're
pleasure to see
eavesdropping.
you.
I would have preferred that we see each other in other circumstances.
You don't always have the choice.
Did your grandfather's death affect you deeply?
I don't know.
Do you think it did?
I just can't believe
I
it.
don't know.
I had problems because of him. But they all went away after his tragic death. In the end, Jones was a good man.
Yes, certainly. I don't know what to think.
Would you like to
I
change
don't know
the
what to
subject?
think.
No, not especially. I'm just a little off, that's all.
The sky is melancholy. Like us, Sonia.
It's true. Perfect weather for a burial.
Lovely. Perfect weather for a burial. Let's have a wee chat to this guy here, see what he's going on about.
Good morning. I'm Inspector Jack Norm. I am charged with conducting the investigation of the death of Mr. Jones.
Delighted, Mr. Inspector. Lorenzo Battaglieri. I'm the architect and the mastermind behind this tower in which you'll stay.
May I photograph your shoes?
Do it. Do it, Inspector, if it'll help to discover the truth.
Well, thank you, my friend. That is something we need to do.
Thanks.
So now, more questions.
Here, I won't further your investigation, Inspector, but tell me anyway.
What
ask
can
you
you
about
tell me
everything.
regarding the death of Walter Jones?
I can't tell you a thing, nothing at all. It's Hubert de Noland who woke me up to tell me about this business. I've got nothing more I can tell you.
So he doesn't know very much, apparently.
Where were you and what were you doing last night?
I spent the evening in my studio listening to the radio. Then I learned of Jones's death from Noland.
So he didn't do much then.
What was your relationship with Walter Jones?
Our dealings, both professional and even more so personal, were never simple, Mr. Norm. But I appreciated that he was a character and a man who had
It's
talent.
interesting.
I must confess that I'm more affected by his death than I had thought. It's just the way it is, you know. My artistic temperament has always pushed me to be a little bit sentimental.
To whom could this shred of cloth
This
collected
cloth?
from the rocks of the Belvedere belong?
Touching cloth
I
again.
don't know. It's no, I know nothing at all, really.
That doesn't sound very convincing, does it?
Do these pearls mean anything to you?
No, really, they don't mean anything to me.
Have you seen them before?
Who is the rightful owner of this piece of chain?
It seems to me that Walter Jones wore a small chain like that.
Oh, did he? So what, it's like falling off?
Who normally walks barefoot on the island?
Well, all the women of the island usually do, Norm.
All of them.
These footprints near the tracks of the wheelchair lead me to think that there was an argument which got out of hand.
Maybe. I'm not a policeman. I'm nothing but a poor architect.
Okay then.
The wheelchair seemed to be acting strangely before skidding and falling from the cliff.
It did.
Could it have been malfunctioning? Could a false maneuver have been the reason for the fall?
Well, that's
Still, you
hard
know,
to say.
no lip movement.
Electronic technology is
while
not
they're
always
chatting.
immune to human error.
It's not, that's true.
I'm wondering whose shoe prints these are.
I don't know, Norm. Sorry.
Norm. This isn't Cheers we're playing here, is it?
Did
How
Walter
about sit
Jones
down at a
die
bar?
following the first impact on hitting the rocks? Or from what happened to him when he fell further down?
How should I know?
Don't know.
Norm? I'm no forensics expert.
What do you
How
think of
about
the
Hubert?
attorney, Hubert de Nolant?
Nolant is a crafty and slick man.
Doesn't trust
Don't
him.
trust him, Inspector.
I think the thing to learn is not to trust anyone. Who was at the Belvedere of the Tortoise on the night of Walter Jones' death?
Did you see anyone at the Tortoise Belvedere last evening, or did anything at all catch your attention?
I can't answer your question, Norm. I wasn't there.
You weren't there. Oh, okay. And what was the cause of Jones'
Do you
death?
know anything about medicine?
No, of course not. What a question.
Too bad. I really need some medical advice.
No,
Well, I will wait for the coroner's report.
I guess that's the only choice
I
we
get
have. Norm. And let's
Good
have a
morning,
chat to
ma'am.
her.
Jack Norm. I'm a police inspector, and I'm charged with the investigation of the death of Mr. Walter Jones.
Good morning, Inspector. Sonia Jones. I'm the granddaughter of Walter Jones. You know, I hadn't thought that my time in Segura would take such a dramatic turn.
Quite dramatic,
If it
isn't
doesn't
it?
bother you, I'd love to take a photo of your hands, please.
Your method of flirting is very questionable, Inspector. But that's what you want.
Yeah, just let us do it. Scratches on the face, I guess. Want to
Thanks.
check fingernails. Anything else to talk to her about? Yeah, let's go through all the conversation options again, like
I'm
we did with
collecting footprints, and I'd
the other
like to have
gentleman.
yours.
Go on. I imagine this is part of the game.
Yeah, it is. So just give me your feet.
Thanks.
Is that it?
Go on. I'm listening, Inspector.
Yeah, let's ask her the questions now, Inspector.
What can you tell me regarding the death of Walter Jones?
Let's hear it.
It was Hubert de Nolant, you met him, I believe, who told me about the death of my grandfather. Nolan went to the site to rescue my grandfather, but it was too late. And then there was the storm. He advised me not to move. And Billy and Clara, too, so we stayed here. This Baina was there, according to what Nolan told us.
Hyena.
There's no way that she could have a clear conscience.
We should think that just because of who she is, or
Where were you and what were you doing
do you have
last
any
night?
suggestion of
I
why
spent
she
the
might do
evening
something
with my brother
wrong?
Billy and my sister-in-law
Or is it just
Clara,
an
Mr. Nolan.
assumption?
It was Hubert de Nolant, my grandfather's attorney, who informed us of his death.
Okay.
What was your relationship with Walter Jones?
You know, Mr. Norm, my grandfather was a tough man. He wasn't the sort of grandpa who spoiled my two brothers and me. I didn't feel at ease with him, and our relationship has been tense for a long time. When he made the first move to invite us here,
That's
I was
surprising. Almost like he was
surprised.
going to do something to
He
you.
was really proud, and that touched me. I'm horrified by the conditions under which he died, and I am sad. Yes, I am saddened by his death. It's odd, isn't it?
Is it? I mean, he's a relative. You may not have known him that
Do
well,
these
but
pearls mean anything to you?
Pearls
Still
of no
be
value, Inspector.
upsetting.
Like the ones worn by the indigenous people of the archipelago. No, they don't mean any more than that to me.
yeah, if you wanted to make it look like it was somebody in, native to the archipelago, you might dump them there.
Who is the rightful owner of this piece of chain?
I do have the impression that my grandfather wore
Well, that's
something
two people that
looked
said
like
that, so
It's pretty
it would
ugly
appear
in any
it probably
case.
was his.
Even if we agree it's made of gold. Wait, yes, I do believe, but at the same time I'm not sure.
So she can't be sure. Let's
What
ask
do
her
you know
about Lorenzo.
Battaglieri?
Lorenzo is an old friend, Inspector. We've known each other for a long time. He's a refined and charming man. Someone dependable.
What do you think of the attorney, Hubert
Hubert?
de Noland?
Hubert de Noland is definitely a remarkable man, Inspector. Intelligent, adroit, and terribly efficient.
Good.
Did you see
See
anyone
what
at
she
the
says about
Tortoise
these
Belvedere
questions.
last evening, or did anything at all catch your attention?
I spent the evening with my brother Billy and my sister-in-law Clara. We were relaxed and we all
Relaxed and
chatted.
chatted.
I saw nothing and I
I
heard
think they
nothing,
all
Mr.
clubbed
Norm.
together to kill
Sorry
her grandfather.
To disappoint you.
Do you know
I'm starting
anything
to get
about
that might
medicine?
be what happened.
No.
In that case, you can't help me. I get it.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I'm glad he
just
gets
one
it.
question. It won't be too long.
Just want to ask you
I
what
would
you think
love
of
it if
Sonia.
you tell me a little about Sonia.
Sonia is a free woman, Inspector. A modern, intelligent, independent woman. She successfully managed to get out of
That's
Walter
an interesting
Jones's
choice of
gilded
words.
cage.
To get out of his gilded cage.
I need your assistance to clarify certain points.
What's that supposed to mean?
Lorenzo said that you succeeded in getting out of your golden cage. What was he
Yeah,
talking
let's
about
ask that
exactly?
question.
You know, Inspector, it's not easy to be the granddaughter of a billionaire who is authoritarian, a megalomaniac, and perverted. I
Oh.
always forced myself to keep a distance from the tyrant.
I understand better.
That's interesting. Okay, well I think we've learned everything we need to learn from these guys for now. Let's get up these stairs and back on the walkway. And I think... Oh, here she is again. And again, there she goes running. Let's see, so I guess we want to try and follow her. See where she's going. Not... We're outside the hotel, I guess. Let's try and catch up with her again then. Oh, she's off. She just runs away again. Guess we're going this way. Are we? Okay. I guess we're going on to the beach then. Well, this is the way she went, wasn't it? So I guess we'll find her along here, maybe? Possibly? Interesting island. Might be nice to actually get into his house at his room or suite at some point, because it looks like the weather's not great. So let's go this way. Oh, there's a little crab there. That's definitely a big place, considering there's not that many people inside it, really. But here we are. We have the girl. I guess that's her dad. She ran away
Good morning,
before.
Miss. I'm Jack Norm.
Now
I'm
we
a
can talk
police
to her.
inspector. That means I will conduct an investigation about the death of Mr. Jones. Walter Jones, you understand?
My daughter has not spoken for years. Leave her alone. She has nothing to do with all your cop business.
If
I
it
just
doesn't
need
bother
to-
you, I'd love to take a photo of your hands, please.
guess she's not gonna... Well, she is gonna let us do it. Well, that's good.
Thanks. This finger with the broken nail makes me strangely think of the tip of the nail that was left embedded
Yeah, but
in
is it
Jones's
because...
face.
Is it because she did it, or is it because she tried to help, or...
I'm collecting footprints, and I'd like to add yours.
Well, it looks like she's not going to give us the footprints, though.
Shy girl.
I guess we're going to talk to him then.
Good
He's
morning,
got something
sir.
to tell
I'm
us.
Jack Norm. I'm a police inspector. I'm investigating the demise of Mr. Walter Jones.
I saw the helicopter, Jack Norm. I am Coolio. I have been a fisherman
Coolio.
here forever. My daughter's name is Baina. She lives here with me. Sagora is an island blessed by the gods.
Blessed by the
Old
gods.
Jones is dead, and it's sad. But he was lucky to die in Sagora.
Was
May
he?
I photograph your shoes?
You are the boss, Jack Norm.
I'm the boss. Okay. An awful lot of photographs of shoes. It's not because
Thanks.
he's needing them to investigate anything. It's because he is a bit of a foot fetish, maybe.
There's the man who is always asking questions.
Let's see if you can tell me anything about any of this.
What can you tell me regarding the death of Walter Jones?
Old Jones was a bad guy, that is for sure. So he had enemies. That is how it is. This man was asking for trouble.
In paradise.
Where were you and what were you doing last night?
Fishing?
I was in the cabin with my daughter Baina.
Right, who's going to be able to confirm that?
What was your relationship with Walter Jones?
Sometimes we had hatred. Sometimes we liked each other. But we did not know each other well. I do not know if I am sad
Yeah.
or not. I would have liked to say goodbye to him, to Walter Jones. That's all.
It's interesting.
To whom
Seems
could
like
this
no one
shred
really
of
liked him.
cloth collected from the rocks
And yet they
of the
did,
Belvedere
at the
belong?
same time.
It is the sea that
It's a bit
snags all this in the rocks, I tell you, Jack Norm. It comes from another part.
Do
The sea
these
snags
pearls
it in the
mean anything
rocks.
to you?
There are lots of pearls on the island, Jack Norm.
Who is the
Okay.
rightful owner of this piece of chain?
It comes from the sea. One finds many things in the rocks.
Yeah, but it didn't come from the sea because everyone says it belonged to... Unless it didn't.
Who normally walks barefoot on the island?
Sometimes I do.
Okay,
These footprints
normally.
near the tracks of
Not
the
sometimes,
wheelchair lead me to
normally.
think that there was an argument which got out of hand.
I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. They are not happy memories,
What
Jack
memories
Norm.
if you weren't
What
there?
is not a good memory, Colio?
I have known brawls that ended badly.
Okay, but how's that relevant to this case?
The wheelchair seemed
Exactly.
to be acting strangely before skidding and falling from the cliff. Could it have been malfunctioning? Could a false maneuver have been the reason for the fall?
I don't know, but it is possible.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible.
Did Walter Jones die following the first impact on hitting the rocks? Or from what happened to him when he fell further down?
I was not there to see it, Jack Norm.
That's true. You weren't, or so you say
Do
anyway.
you know how Baina broke one of her fingernails?
Baina works with her hands, Jack Norm.
You're not going to get a straight answer out of anyone.
I would love it if you could tell me a little about Sonia.
No one can control Sonia. Sonia
No one
is
controls
a strong
Sonia.
and free woman, like Sagora.
It's good to know.
What do you know about Lorenzo Battaglieri?
Lorenzo is a good
He's a
man,
bit of a creep.
Jack Norm.
I mean, he seemed like that to
Lorenzo
me.
helped Baina after the terrible
Well,
accident.
apparently he's a nice guy,
Lorenzo
though.
has always been obliging and good with Baina and Colio.
What can you tell me about your daughter?
Baina is Colio's son. And Colio is willing to break Jack
It's a bit
Norm's
harsh.
head if Jack Norm says bad things about Baina.
Well, I'll just have to be careful then, won't I? And only say bad things if they're true.
What do you think of the attorney, Hubert de Noland?
I do not like judges and lawyers who are like gods, Jack Norm. Gods alone should be
Gods alone should be gods.
And I like policemen worse still than judges and lawyers, Jack Norm.
Fair enough. Who was at the Belvedere of the Tortoise?
Did you see anyone at the Tortoise Belvedere last evening, or did anything at all catch your attention?
I doubt
don't
he was
know.
anywhere near there.
I spent the evening in the cabin with Baina.
Get the feeling from some of the conversations that probably no one wants him anywhere near them.
Do you know anything about medicine?
No,
In that case, you can't help me. I understand.
That might not have been that surprising. Right, so now we've collected quite a lot of information. I think we should probably take a look at the clues we've got. I'm going to try and compare some of these clues. So we want to, because we took that picture of her fingernails. So I'd be interested to compare those two just to see if anything matches up there.
Correct match.
Apparently they match. So that's interesting, I guess. Let's have a look here. We've got some footprints. This will give us a picture of her feet, I guess. Yeah, look, so here we are.
Here are the footprints of the young Baina.
So I guess now we can go back into there and now we can compare the footprints to those on the ground. Just to say that one and this one. Do they match at all?
Correct match.
They do match. That's interesting. That's interesting indeed. She certainly was there at least.
2 or 3 questions. What can you tell me regarding the death of Walter Jones?
Nothing, apparently. She doesn't speak.
Where were you and what were you doing last night?
I don't think you're going to get many answers out of her, to be honest, but we'll keep talking.
What was your relationship with Walter Jones?
Well, she doesn't seem to like that question.
Do these pearls mean anything to you? Baina, had you argued with Walter Jones yesterday evening?
She's not going to tell us anything.
Strange girl.
I mean,
How
you were
did you
told she
break
doesn't
this
speak.
nail? I would love it if you could tell me a little about Sonia.
I don't think she's not going to tell you
What do
about
you think
anyone.
of Colio? What do you know about Lorenzo Battaglieri?
I think this is a worthless, a kind of
What do
pointless
you think of
gesture,
the
to be
attorney,
honest.
Hubert de Noland? Did you see anyone
was
at
at
the
the Belvedere of
Tortoise
the Tortoise?
Belvedere last evening, or did anything at all catch your
I
attention?
think we know the answer to this by now, don't we?
I think you're making fun of me.
You think she's making fun of you? Well, maybe she is, but honestly, I doubt it. What else have we got here? Anything interesting? I don't see anything interesting there, maybe. Do I go inside their house now? Oh, hang on, what's that out there? What's that place? Well, we can take a photograph of it at least. I don't know what it is, but
Strange construction.
it is an odd looking place. Anyway, let's go inside their house now. Do a little bit of a search. What do we have? We've got a couple of boxes here. One, I guess, is for Baina and one for Colio. What do we have here? What was that? Let's go into our PPA and find out what that was. Oh, it's a letter accompanying a gift, apparently. Let's take a look. Dear Collier, I would like to thank you for having sent me all of your friends from the archipelago, who have almost all found good work at the hotel. Please accept this gift which I give you with all my heart. I know that you recently ran your donie aground on the coral barrier, and it is a great misfortune for a fisherman like yourself. I hope that this motorboat will relieve some of the fatigue that accompanies your beautiful and difficult profession. P.S. I'm also very thankful that we've overcome our little disagreement regarding the construction of my tower. You know that you can count on me to assure a serene destiny for your daughter Baina, and for yourself. Best regards, Walter Jones.
If I believe this letter, Colio had Jones in his pocket.
Apparently so. What kind of
look alike?
comparisons
They're from
going
the
on
same
in this
necklace.
machine, but
Baina's necklace.
it would appear to be the case, yes. I wonder... No. Okay. What else is there in here? Got some fish. Anything interesting? Doesn't look like there's anything of interest here. Nothing to draw our attention, at least. So I guess we can go back outside. Let's see if she'll talk to us. Oh,
I need you to enlighten me on a point.
that she's not going to do. So
Walter Jones gave this to you, didn't he? For what reason?
that's probably a sore point. Probably don't want to do that
Not
one.
very talkative. How did you lose your pearls close to the place where Walter Jones fell? Opportunistic muteness, isn't it?
Is it? Because she hasn't actually said
What
a
is
word
this
once
pyramid
yet. Okay, scary apparently, the pyramid.
It's always sad to see a girl crying.
Is it? In this situation.
A question is buzzing in my head. What is this gift hiding? Why did Jones try so hard to secure you and your daughter's future?
Good question.
Jones was in love with my daughter, Baina. I agreed to give him my daughter, but he wanted to have her before marriage. He called spirits of shame over me. Jones
That's a bit
told
silly,
me he
isn't it?
wanted to give Baina all his wealth after his death. Even so, I told him one had to wait so that the evil spirits could pass far from here.
That's interesting, isn't it? That's very interesting.
Walter Jones gave this to Baina, didn't he? What were the bonds that connected them?
Old Jones gave it to my daughter. Baina can never speak again because of him, so he gave
So
her
what's he
gifts
done to her, I
like
wonder,
this.
to make her stop
Can you
speaking?
tell me more about the circumstances of this accident, please?
Baina had climbed with Jones to the top of Hawita, and they fell. I don't know how it happened. Jones never wanted to answer my questions, and Baina, since that day, no longer speaks.
Okay. That's a bit problematic, isn't it?
According to you, how could Baina have lost pearls from her necklace?
Baina walks often. Baina lost her necklace, that is all.
It seems that Baina accompanied Walter Jones to the tourist
possibly.
Belvedere. But she would have been careful not to leave her footprints if she had deliberately planned to kill Jones.
You should not say things like this, Jack Norm. Baina did
That's what
not
he's saying.
kill
He's saying
Jones.
she didn't.
Baina is innocent.
That's what he's saying.
For what reason could Baina and Walter Jones have
A
quarreled?
great many,
Lorenzo
probably.
can
A
speak
great
about
many
that.
reasons.
I do not feel like it.
What is this pyramid, then?
My daughter fell from Hawita. She tried to free herself from the hands of old Jones. They both lost their balance. Jones
So they had
was
an accident in
paralyzed.
there.
My daughter was almost dead. I took care of her for a long time. Lorenzo helped me. She has recovered now.
Wait,
She
what?
will never speak.
That's
again.
interesting.
I see.
So Lorenzo knows nothing about medicine, apparently, but he helped him tend to his daughter. I think we're going to go and have a word with him about his so-called lack of medical knowledge. Possibly, at least. there's not much else to do. I mean, we can go in there, but I want to exhaust every possibility here before I do that. I feel like there's no point rushing things too much, even though I am running everywhere at the moment. Just back we go, all the way back to the beach. Oh, which way do I go here? It's that way, because that's where we came from before. Yeah. I think. Yeah, down here. There they are. Right, we want to talk to Lorenzo first of all.
I'd like to chat with you for a moment. I'm surprised that Colio, even if he was angry at Jones, was not more grateful for his generosity.
Jones was a very practical man, you see. And I really doubt that his gifts to Colio were sincere.
Yeah, so I had that feeling myself.
What do these gifts from Jones hide? Why did he want to assure the future of Colio and his daughter?
Listen, Norm, I don't know what Jones wanted to do for Baina and Colio, and also I don't want to know.
Oh, okay. You don't care.
Walter Jones gave this to Baina, didn't he? What were the bonds that connected them?
Jones hoped that the gifts would make Baina forgive him for the suffering he'd caused her. That boor thought she was his future wife.
Well, as it turns out, maybe she was.
According to you, how could Baina have lost pearls from her necklace?
I have no idea. But I want to point out that there is absolutely nothing to prove that she lost them last night.
That's true.
If that's what you're thinking, Inspector. She came by here often, you know.
That is true.
It seems that Baina accompanied Walter Jones to the Tortoise Belvedere, but she would have been careful not to leave her footprints if she had deliberately planned to kill Jones.
That's true.
I'm sure you're right, Norm. Baina is far from stupid. She would have handled it differently if she had wanted to kill Walter Jones.
Maybe. Maybe not.
For
Depends
what reason
on the
could
circumstances.
Baina and Walter Jones have quarreled?
Baina has been in extreme shock since the fall that caused her to become mute
3
years
years.
ago.
Wow.
Mr. Jones was involved in that accident. Baina is still angry with him, that's a given. But that doesn't make her a murderer, Inspector Norm.
It's a pretty good reason,
Can you
though.
tell me more about the circumstances of this accident, please?
Walter Jones had taken Baina to the top of Hawita. It's a sort of sacred rock that's meant for the natives'
The
religious
pyramid, is it?
ceremonies.
That
I
pyramid.
imagine that Walter Jones must have lured Baina to the very top on some pretext or other. He tried to misbehave with her. She fought back, and they both fell. A terrible fall in the rocks. Baina miraculously escaped with a few scratches, but she was traumatized by the event, and since then she
She no longer speaks.
As for Walter Jones, as of that day, he was paralyzed in both legs.
Well, maybe he deserves that.
Do you know how Baina broke one of her fingernails?
I don't know anything about it, Norm. It's beyond my expertise.
It's a bit confusing. He's constantly being called Norm.
What do you think of Colio?
No.
He's a brave man. A man who is deeply passionate
Norm.
about justice and preoccupied with the future of the Maledivians.
And he's not one of those. Come on.
I like him very much. I have great admiration for him, Inspector.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to know that.
What do you think of Baina?
Yeah.
Young Baina is a miracle of beauty and unfathomable mystery, Inspector. Since that terrible accident that made her mute, I
Interesting.
find her even more fascinating.
I understand.
He does. He
I need you
understands.
to enlighten me on
Alright.
a point.
What about her? What does she think?
I'm surprised that Colio, even if he was angry at Jones, was not more grateful for his generosity.
I wasn't aware that my grandfather gave gifts to this man.
You weren't aware. Well, I don't suppose you're in control of every moment of his life, were you?
Walter Jones gave this to Baina, didn't he? What were the bonds that connected them?
If she
I never
denies
took to
this,
this girl. She plays people to make herself interesting and to attract men. She's a schemer interested in money. That's what I think.
No, because you're not getting all of it, so she's a schemer as far as you're concerned. You see, that's what concerns me about you, which is I think that you're wanting the money, and I don't think you were getting it all.
It seems that Baina
Guess we'll find
accompanied
out.
Walter Jones to the Tortoise Belvedere, but she would have been careful not to leave her footprints if she had deliberately planned to kill Jones.
She
This
might not think
Baina
that.
probably counted on the fact that she would be taken for an idiot. The beautiful bird of the islands without any brains.
Yeah.
You see the type, Mr. Norm.
She's quite
No need
pushy
to
on
draw
that
you a
point,
picture.
isn't she? She's very pushy on that
What
point.
is this pyramid, then?
Ah, Mr. Norm, here you've come to the right person. It's a Malediven pyramid that the locals of the archipelago call Hawita. It's a sacred place for them, and some anthropologists see it as a ritual site for the first Hittite colonies in the Indian Ocean.
Interesting.
I'm told that an accident left Baina mute. What is that about?
I only know that my grandfather fell with Baina from a place on the island, and that they both came out of it rather badly. I don't know the
It's
reasons
funny, isn't
and
it?
circumstances.
He can
and
fall
I
down a
prefer not
pyramid
to
and be
know.
paralysed, but takes a little knock on the head and he's...
What do you think of Kolio?
Dead.
Kolio Jumhu? He's a wily old man who my grandfather was obliged to compromise with. He enjoys an indisputable mystique with the indigenous people of the region.
What do you think of Baina?
I'm learning a few
She's
things.
apparently a charming bird of the islands, unfortunately totally bereft of conversation.
I get it.
She is, yeah, she can't speak because, well, your grandfather was a bit pushy, wasn't he? Don't you think? Okay, we're gonna go into the hotel now. Or into the tower, or whatever it is. I don't know. It's a hotel apparently, but it does just look like a massive tower. I'm not sure what you need such a massive hotel for in an area like this. Let's get out of the rain. Let's see. The Tower
Hello?
Lounge.
Anyone here? This place is disproportionate.
Yeah, it definitely is. Very, as you say, disproportionate. What have we got? We've got the counter. A counter. A reception desk, maybe? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, we've got a couple of things here. What's this? I guess that's some kind of brochure, is it? Let's have a look. If we go into our PPT, we can see what these two documents we just picked up were. That's the restaurant menu. And there's a tourist pamphlet all about the Maledivian archipelago. Yeah, that guy does look a bit creepy, doesn't he? This is the guy that's dead, Walter Jones. He does look a bit creepy. We have some information about the palace and access to it, about walks, and the reception desk, and all that kind of information. I'll leave that up on the screen for a little while, just in case you want to hold things there and read it. I could read the whole thing out if you like, but I don't think we need to be involved in a lot of reading, do we? Well, maybe, let's see. So, we'll start here. The tower is a pure neo-Art Deco architectural gem designed by Lorenzo Battaglieri. The Jones Tower residence soars 150 metres above a setting of sand and the greenery of the Segura Atoll's lagoon. This sumptuous palace, measuring 150 metres in height, associates the audaciousness of a monumental architectural aesthetic, triumphing with the refinement of its interior decoration, etc., etc. Set back from the large roads and mass tourism, the Jones Residence Tower is located on the Segura Island, at the southern tip of the Maledivian archipelago. It profits from a unique location midway between the Salé Atoll and the island of Ceylon. Not Ceylon, Ceylon. Nature of the island and its beaches makes this privileged location a luxurious A tranquil paradise particularly valued by its exceptional clientele. Yeah, so basically it's Walter Jones telling us about how beautiful this place is.
Jones really wanted to make this tower into a super luxury hotel.
He did. That is true. He most certainly did. Okay, let's see what else we got. Oh, we've got some lights here. Looks like maybe a door or an elevator. Well, it would appear to be an elevator, but what's this? There's a sign right in front of the doors. Dear customers, as a result of the tower's final construction stages, this elevator is out of service. Thank you for your understanding, Lorenzo Battaglieri. So he's still actually building it? Alright. I guess we're not going that way then. Guess we can maybe find some steps to get to our room. Well, there's the stairs, so I guess we're following them. What else have we got? We'll go left here. Maybe the elevator up here will be working, if there is one. No, we've got another sign. Let's see what this sign says. Hotel's final construction stages of blah blah blah, the same as before. It's not much use to us, is it? Is that like a bar up there? Maybe we'll go up here. Or maybe we'll go... Well, let's go this way actually. It is a bar, but yeah. It's going to turn into like The Shining. It's none of it's, you know, it's all gone mad. Where are we? Let's go and talk to this guy over here. Since it looks like we can talk to him, we can't talk to the other person.
Good morning.
It's a very open kitchen, isn't it?
Inspector Jack Norm. I'm here to conduct the investigation on the death of Mr. Jones.
Inspector Norm. Very good. Very good. I am Martin Abruzzi, the husband of Sonia Jones, the granddaughter of the deceased.
Oh, okay.
May I photograph your shoes?
If this will be of use to you, Inspector, go ahead.
Thank you, it will be.
Thanks.
Definitely will be. Can I not talk to him again? Yeah, let's talk to him again.
I assume you want to question me. So go on then.
I'm surprised that Colio, even if he was angry at Jones,
the question
was
about
not
Colio
more
and his
grateful
papers
for his
again.
generosity.
I don't know anything about this, Inspector.
He's a bit more animated than the others in the way he
What
moves,
do these
isn't he?
gifts from Jones hide? Why did he want to assure the future of Colio and his daughter?
I was unaware
The way
of
that's
all
spoken, it
of this.
almost sounds like he's thinking it rather than saying it, but
What can you tell me regarding the death of Walter Jones?
I don't suppose he can tell me
Mr.
very
Nolan
much.
had us all come together in the restaurant to
You know,
give us
one
the
seems to
tragic
be the
news.
the
It
main
was a
link.
terrible shock for us, as you might suspect. Outside, the storm was raging.
Doesn't he?
Abominable weather.
But the only link, the
It
only
would have
thing
been
that links
madness to
everyone to
go
the
out
death.
and risk our lives. Because in truth, we couldn't have brought poor Mr. Jones back to life.
No, I don't know. Maybe you could have.
Where were you and what were you doing last night?
I spent the evening at the restaurant
what
with
kind
my
of place
wife
this
Sonia
is?
and the other guests until the departure of Mr. Jones. I returned to my suite at around 10:30 p.m. to read a manuscript, and I soon went to bed. It was Sonia who woke me up to tell me about the tragedy that had taken place.
What was your relationship
Was
with
it a
Walter
tragedy?
Jones?
No one seemed to
I
like the
certainly
guy.
won't try to play any games.
Maybe it
with you,
wasn't that tragic.
And I won't surprise you if I tell you that I didn't have much affection for this man. He was the grandfather of my wife, full stop. That's it. A grandfather who was not particularly
Yeah, I've
likable.
heard he's not very likable.
He didn't behave very well
From
with Sonia
basically
and me,
everyone.
and I have not forgotten. Therefore, his death truly doesn't affect me.
Good.
This menu seems utterly appetizing. Tell me, what are we eating today?
I
Nothing.
admit I'm not a lover of this kind
No
of
food
sophisticated
for you.
cuisine, Inspector.
Okay, well, don't need to be so defensive. I just asked you what was for dinner.
This tower on this wild island, far from everything. Isn't it madness?
If I had been in charge of promoting this hotel, I would definitely have chosen a sales brochure that was less flashy, Inspector. It is pretentious and ridiculous. It's brash to tell you what I really think. But it seems to work on you, Inspector.
Me who said it was madness.
What luxury. For some, the
I
world
don't-
is all
I
roses.
don't think you understand
But
how
where
these
did the
things
staff
work.
go? I don't see them.
I don't know, and to tell you the truth, I don't care.
Mm.
And what's more, Mr. Jones was extremely rich. He did whatever
Obviously,
he
he built a
fancied with his money,
150
after
meter
all.
tower in the middle of an island.
Who is the rightful owner of this piece of chain?
I confess I haven't the foggiest idea.
Strikes me as
Wondering
not a
whose
particularly
shoe prints
observant
these
person.
are.
Sorry, I don't know. I don't wear that kind of shoes.
What, the kind that leave prints?
I'm told that an accident left Baina mute.
I
What
don't
is
believe
that about?
wear shoes that make
I
prints.
don't know anything. My wife spoke to me about it. I know that Jones and Baina had a fall together that could have been fatal, but I don't know anything more.
Is that by choice?
I would love it if you could tell me a little about Sonia.
I'm badly placed to answer you with any objectivity, Inspector. Sonia is my wife. Sonia is the woman I love. Sonia is the woman of my life. She is irreplaceable for me.
Irreplaceable? That seems like an odd choice of word.
What do you think of Colio?
I didn't have the chance to
It's a
spend
terrible
much time
disease.
with Colio,
Oh,
Inspector.
Coley, sorry.
I don't really know him.
What do you know about Lorenzo Battaglieri?
Delicate question, Inspector. I take Lorenzo to be a whimsical creature,
whimsical
somewhat
creature.
unreliable, and is commonly considered to be an incompetent to boot.
By who?
What do you think of Baina?
You or everybody?
Baina? The untamed young girl? What can I say? I have the impression that maybe she isn't entirely a stranger to Walter
Well,
Jones.
nobody is. We all know about it.
Why would Baina have something to do with Walter Jones's death?
Because she wanted the
I know
money.
the old man ran after her a little.
The money.
That surely couldn't have been to her taste.
And they weren't getting it. She was.
What do you think of the
So they
attorney,
were
Hubert
annoyed.
de Noland?
I cannot comment on Mr. de Noland for the simple reason that I do not know him, Inspector.
Oh, it was not as straightforward as that. That would be pretty dull.
Did you see anyone at the Tortoise
Did he see
Belvedere
anyone?
last evening, or did anything at all catch your attention?
Doubt it.
I'm afraid I won't be very useful to you, Inspector. I had dinner with the guests and with Mr. Jones. I stayed for a bit after the old man had left for his evening walk. It must have been around 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
Then I went back to my apartment. Well, the suite that was reserved for Sonia and me.
Oh, sweet. Okay,
It was
yeah.
around 10:30 p.m. I wanted to finish reading a manuscript. I'm a publisher, as you certainly must
Well, I
already
do now. If I didn't know before,
So
I
I
do
read
now.
and then I slept. I confess I was pretty exhausted by the trip.
Yeah, it's pretty tiring, isn't it? Cause of death?
Do you know anything about medicine?
Of course not.
Too bad.
Of course
I really
not.
need some medical advice. Well, I will wait for the coroner's report.
Well, you might have
I
to.
have to
but
believe you. Thanks.
Maybe we'll find something else to do. Let's walk over here. I guess we go over there. Right, we've got someone else there. But what I want is to first... I think there's something I need to find here. Yeah, it's open this drawer.
I will certainly be able to use this for something.
Use what? What did you pick up? A knife. Alright, yeah, I guess you could use that for something. Eating your dinner, maybe. Let's have a chat to this guy.
Good morning, sir. I'm Jack Norm, police inspector. I'm mandated to conduct the investigation on the death of Mr. Walter Jones.
Good morning, Mr. Inspector Jack Norm. It's funny. Your name rings a bell.
Sounds like a pretty normal
Well,
name to
anyway,
me. Actually, it's not, is
I'm
it?
Billy Jones, grandson and soon heir of the late Walter Jones. Well, at least I hope so.
Okay.
May I photograph your shoes?
To each his own, Inspector. Go ahead.
To each his own. Indeed.
Thanks.
I'm not
I don't want to
finished.
waste your time.
Not
What do
finished
you
talking
wanna
to you.
know?
I'm surprised that Colio, even if he was
Seriously,
angry at
it's-
Jones, was not more grateful for his generosity.
Well, I really have no idea, Norm. I'm not in the loop.
It's Shia LaBeouf.
What do these gifts from Jones hide? Why did he want to assure the future of Colio and his daughter?
No, I have no idea.
What can you tell me
Certainly looks a
regarding
bit like
the
him,
death of Walter
a little bit.
Jones?
I found out about the death of the old man like everyone else at around 11:30 p.m. It was Nolan, his right-hand man, who informed us. This guy risked his life to save the old miser. Unbelievable, huh? The daughter of the fisherman, Cotillo, whatever. She's apparently involved.
Okay. You
Where
seem
were
like someone
you
who's
and
totally
what were
switched
you
on to
doing
what's going
last
on.
night?
I was absorbed in a hand of poker, and I was having pretty good luck. With Sonia and Martin for partners, and Nolan, the attorney of my grandfather, came to inform us of the death.
That's convenient. It just happens. I think it's just convenient, isn't
What was
it?
your
that all his
relationship
family
with
just
Walter
happened to be in
Jones?
the area
I
at one
don't
time.
really want to tell you stories
as he
about
dies.
my family. What I can tell you is that I had 1,000 reasons to detest the old
And to
man.
kill him.
But I immediately reassure you, Norm. The death of my grandfather took me completely by surprise.
Death of the grandfather.
Tell me more about your reasons for
According to
hating
the,
your grandfather, please.
Subtitles.
Principally to do with money, Inspector. I've got a fair bit of debt. And
At least he's
my
being
super
honest,
rich
eh? Look.
grandfather never wanted to lend me
Never
a
wanted
cent.
to lend him a cent.
But if you want to go there,
He'd never
I
kill
would
anyone
never
for
kill
money.
Anyone for money, or anything else for that matter.
Do we believe him?
This menu seems utterly appetizing. Tell me, what are we eating today?
Is he going to
I'm
say
not
that he
a
doesn't
fan
like
of
the
this
food?
stuff, Norm. Moreover, the chef was given the boot, we're told. The old man told us to cope by ourselves.
And now he's dead, so that's going to work, isn't it?
This tower on this wild island, far from everything. Isn't it madness?
Yeah.
It's all bullshit, this tower. There's not even a game room here. Not one, Inspector.
Not even a
Can you
game
believe
room.
that?
I mean, it's not the most important thing on my mind right now.
What luxury. For some, the world is all roses. But where did the staff go? I don't see
He
them.
laid them all
All
off.
I can tell you is that my grandfather was a genius at throwing money out the window, and at never letting
What's
his
his money?
relatives benefit. You know, deep down, it doesn't surprise me that things happen this way.
Walter Jones
Okay.
gave this to Baina, didn't he? What were the bonds that connected them?
Listen, man, I'm not a Satan. I have my faults, but I think that the old man was really revolting to want to fuck this girl.
It's a bit extreme.
Who is the rightful owner of this piece of chain?
Sorry, but I don't know anything about this, Norm.
You're not interested, you mean?
Whose shoe prints these are?
How am I supposed to know, Inspector? I'm not a shoemaker.
Yeah.
I'm told
What are
that
you
an
exactly?
accident left Baina mute. What is that about?
He doesn't know.
A dark family story, Jack. My grandfather never wanted to tell us what happened between him and Baina that day. What is sure is that both of them fell from the top of the
Okay.
rocks. Since then, the old man was in a wheelchair, and the island bird didn't say another word. In my opinion, it was a
love story that
turned
turned bitter. It's probably not far from the truth.
I would love it if you could tell me a little about Sonia.
Sonia's my sibling, dude. She's an awesome, intelligent, and generous woman, always attentive to the needs of others. In short, she's a super sister.
He's full of it. Full
What
of
do you
it.
think of Colio?
Sorry, man, I don't know him.
At all?
What do you know about Lorenzo Battaglieri?
Lorenzo has talent, and those who tell you otherwise are lying and probably jealous.
Cool.
He's my friend, and I find it disgusting that he was put aside by Nolan and my grandfather. Lorenzo was in a way their scapegoat, you know?
Was he?
What do you think of
if you say
Baina?
so.
Ah, Baina. That natural, young, beautiful, and mute girl who makes men's heads turn. Well, except mine, of course.
Why? Why not yours, but
I would
everyone
like to know
else's?
more about Martin.
Martin? Yeah, great guy. One shouldn't tease him too much, you know. He's rather susceptible.
Tease him about
but
what?
otherwise okay.
Tease him about what?
What do you think of the attorney, Hubert de Noland?
Ha! Nolan. He's a real poet, huh? If I could earn a tenth of what he does thanks to his shrewdness at robbing the IRS, then I can tell you I'd be rich.
I guess.
Did you see
Ask
anyone
this
at
question
the
again.
tourist Belvedere last evening, or did anything at all catch your attention?
I didn't see anything of what was happening outside. I was absorbed in a hand of poker
So it
with
seems like
Sonia
nobody
and
saw anything.
Do you know anything about medicine?
Medicine?
No. Sorry, man.
In that case, you can't help me. Thank you for the information.
Yeah, something doesn't add up about him. Or anyone here, to be quite honest. Let's have a chat with her.
Good morning, miss. I'm Jack Norm, police inspector. I'm charged with routine investigation of the death of Mr. Jones.
Good morning, Mrs. Jones, Clara Jones. I'm Billy Jones's wife. Walter Jones was his grandfather, but I didn't really know him. So I will be direct with you. I'm not really in an awful state about his death.
Yeah, that's fine, don't
I'm
worry.
collecting footprints, and I'd like to add yours.
My feet? It seems they are marvelous. You are amazing, Inspector.
Right.
Go on.
If you say so. They're marvelous, are they?
Thanks.
Half of them look like they're about to jump to break into like some
I'd
sort
like
of
to
river
ask you
dance
2 or
thing
3
there.
questions.
And they lift their feet, you know? Anyway, answer my questions.
I'm surprised that Colio, even if he was
She won't know
angry at
this.
Jones, was not more grateful for his generosity.
I wasn't in the know, Inspector.
Were you not?
What can you tell me
So
regarding
your
the death of
husband
Walter
didn't
Jones?
tell you anything?
I have De Nolan's version. He said that he went to the Tortoise Belvedere where Walter Jones had fallen from the top of the cliff in his wheelchair. Now, whether it was an accident or a murder, that I can't say. I wasn't at the site, Inspector.
Yeah, an awful lot of people seem
Where
to
were
know
you
what's going
and
on
what were
when
you
they weren't
doing
there.
last night?
Well, I was at the restaurant throughout the evening, and I can't say anything more. It was Nolan who informed us about Walter's death.
Yeah, what's the point of informing you about something you already knew about?
What was your relationship with Walter Jones?
Would you be surprised if I said that our relationship was far from good? His death won't change anything. This guy hurt a lot of people. I won't cry for him.
I don't think very many people will, by the look of things.
This menu seems utterly appetizing. Tell me, what are we eating today?
Yes, whatever we can make.
I love cooking, and I do pretty well. But I'd be utterly incapable of making any of the dishes on this wretched menu.
Oh, okay. Is it you making the dinner then, is it?
This tower on this wild island, far from everything. Isn't it madness?
Yeah.
Tell me, Inspector, are you here to have a good time or to conduct an investigation?
I am conducting an
What
investigation.
luxury. For some, the world is all roses.
I'm
But
asking
where did
questions.
the staff go? I don't see them.
Old Man Jones threw out all his staff to force his children to handle everything. And I certainly don't like playing the maid.
His children, I thought there was
Who is the rightful
grandchildren.
owner of this piece of chain?
These
Okay.
links are really strong. It must be a man's.
Could be. Could be someone else's.
What reasons could Billy have had for hating his grandfather?
How can you love someone who never helped you even when he had the power?
Why
I know
should...
my Billy sometimes abuses
Why
money.
should he?
But Walter Jones was really
All you
heartless.
do is throw your money
He
away
never
on
lifted
gambling.
even his little finger to get Billy out of his problems.
Okay, his problems. Billy's problems, not his grandfather's problems.
So, tell me a little about Billy.
Billy is not a solid and mature man on whom one can rely, Inspector. My life with him is not always easy,
Good
but
to
he
know.
makes me laugh and amuses me. And he still surprises me after all these years. So, what can I say?
Something else?
I would love it if you could tell me a little about Sonia.
Sonia is an exceptional woman, Inspector. She inherited the straightforwardness of her mother. And I'm lucky to have a sister-in-law like her, you know.
So they tell you.
What do you think of Colio?
I don't really know this Mr. Colio, but he's always very polite with me.
Well, that's good. That's good to know, isn't it?
What do you know about Lorenzo Battaglieri?
Lorenzo Battaglieri is doubtlessly talented, Inspector, but I don't like his cynical and embittered nature.
Do you not? Good to know.
What do you think of Baina?
I always wondered what happened to her, the poor thing. I wanted to talk about the accident. Indeed, the Jones family is in the habit of calling it the accident. She became mute after all.
And could you
And
tell me more
he
about this
became
accident?
paralyzed.
My husband already told me about it, but he doesn't know anything precise. He only told me that Jones and Baina had an accident together.
but not that kind.
I would like to know more about Martin.
I like Martin. He gives the impression of being a good sort. In general, my intuition is never wrong, Inspector. But we don't know each other very well, in fact.
No.
What do you think of the attorney, Hubert de Noland?
Hubert de Noland is a real professional, Inspector. And
Is
an
he?
attorney like him
Okay.
is influential. I never forget.
She never forgets. So let's see, who was at the Belvedere of the Tortoise?
Did you see anyone at the Tortoise Belvedere last
Why
evening?
are we calling
or
it the
did anything
Belvedere
at
of
all
the
catch
Tortoise
your
in the
attention?
question, and the Tortoise
Well, I can't tell you
Belvedere
anything.
afterwards?
I spent the evening at the restaurant. Sonia, Martin, and Billy will confirm this.
Subtitles don't match what's going on, I don't think, half the time.
Do you
Any
know
calls?
anything about medicine?
No, Inspector.
I understand. Too bad that you can't help me.
No one does.
Without a doubt.
Apparently.
Thank you.
No one knows about medicine. Well, I guess we've talked to everyone here so far. So let's go up this way. Okay, but we don't want to go up to that bar just yet, I don't think. So instead we're going to go this way. Well, I guess then we want to go in there. What have we got here? I think this is probably taking us across to the other side. We're in a little, in like a little dining area, I guess. Don't think that's the right way. Let's try that way. There's something interesting over here at least. So have a look. Oh, and there we have some more people to talk to.
Good morning, miss. My name is Jack Norm. I'm a police inspector. I have to
So
conduct
that she's
an
wearing flat
investigation
shoes. I
on the
don't think
death
there's
of
much point
Walter
taking a
Jones.
picture of her feet.
Good morning, Inspector. I am Christina Bromsky. I am the girlfriend of Marco Jones, and Mr. Walter is not from my family. I didn't know him well. I don't like this place, which is full of sadness for Marco today.
No.
I'm collecting footprints, and I'd like to add yours.
If it amuses you, Inspector, the feet, it is said, are an erogenous zone.
Yeah, okay, well,
I
take
meant
it easy.
for your investigation, of course.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Thanks.
Does not make sense. Doesn't compute, sorry. Answer my
Don't
questions.
wander about like this, Jack. Ask me the question you want.
No, answer me
I'm
that one.
surprised that Colio, even if he was angry at Jones, was not more grateful for his generosity.
In any case, it's not to me
I
that
still had
Mr.
money
Jones
left.
would have made a gift.
No.
What can you tell me regarding the death of Walter Jones?
I don't know anything, Jack. It's the attorney
she's
who
got
told
quite a
us
nasty-
everything. He almost died to save the old man.
Quite a nasty
Good.
scar on her face there.
Don't you agree, Jack?
Is that recent?
Where were you and what were you doing last night?
I spent the evening in the room with Marco. We were both there. Sonia told us about the death of Mr. Jones around 11:30 p.m.
Okay.
What was your relationship with Walter Jones?
I didn't know Mr. Jones well, Jack. But I feel bad for Marco, who loved his grandfather so much.
Oh, you feel bad for him.
This menu seems utterly appetizing. Tell me, what are we eating today?
No one actually answers
So
the
you're
questions directly.
gourmand, Inspector Norm.
That's not what I asked. Did I say that?
This tower on
It's
this
part of the
wild
questions. If
island,
nobody answers
far
them
from everything.
in any way that
Isn't it
actually...
madness?
The photos are
goes near
more
them.
beautiful than real life, Jack. The island doesn't enjoy good weather, and it's
I mean, that
deadly
doesn't answer my
boring.
question at all.
Good thing that you came to liven up the place.
What luxury. For some, the world is all
It
roses.
seems like they've decided to create
Where
a
did
kind
the
of
staff go?
mishmash of
I don't see them.
specific
Oh,
types
yeah?
of characters.
I wasn't in the know. I'm not very interested in these things. It's not good for a prestigious hotel like
No,
this
probably
one.
not.
Walter Jones gave this to Baina, didn't he? What were the bonds that connected them?
A
An
diamond.
accident.
One has to find the woman, Jack. Walter Jones was still very young, wasn't he? Despite his age. He
Very
must
young?
have used the gift to... In short, you see what I'm saying, Jack?
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Who is the rightful owner of this piece of chain?
I can't tell it all, Jack. Is it okay if I call you Jack?
No, call me whatever you prefer.
Pardon?
I'm told that an accident left Baina mute. What is that about?
I don't know anything about it. I thought she was mute from birth.
Well, so you're not interested in learning anything about her.
So,
Okay.
tell me a little about Billy.
Billy is very cool. He's a very funny
Shia
guy.
LaBeouf.
He definitely gambles in life, just as he does in poker.
Oh, okay.
I would love it if you could tell me a little about Sonia.
Sonia is not as nice as she seems.
No,
I am
I guess
possibly
that.
the only one who sees the
But
truth
she
about
didn't
this.
seem
She
particularly
is
nice.
a snub who was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She thinks only of herself. She looks down on those who cannot give her something. My life in this
Yep,
family
that
is
sounds
not
about
very
right to me.
easy. You know, Jack?
Sounds about right.
What do you
Mother,
think of
Coolio.
Coolio?
The old man who lives near here? I don't know him.
What do you know about Lorenzo
Lorenzo?
Bertaglieri?
Lorenzo is a very charming man. He has a sort of tragic humor, which reminds me of my
These are all the
countrymen.
people.
I like him, Jack.
What do you think of Baina?
Baina,
She likes
I am
everybody.
sorry, Jack, but I have nothing to say about her.
Nothing.
I would like to know more about Martin.
Martin is a very cultured man. He is also very
I like-
charming. I like
She
him a
likes
lot.
him as well, a lot.
What do you think of
I
the
actually
attorney,
like Hubert as
de
well.
Noland?
Hubert de Noland is a pretentious
no.
and arrogant man, Jack.
There's someone she
He is
doesn't like.
even humiliating sometimes. A lowlife.
A low life.
What can you tell me about Clara?
She is very sweet, Jack. She is a little silly,
There you
but
go.
very nice. She married a gambler with a sense of humor, Jack. So she can't be bad.
Well, you know.
Did you see anyone
Who
at the
knows?
Tortoise Belvedere last evening, or
Yeah,
did
watch
anything at
out
all
for the
catch your
quiet
attention?
ones.
I don't know anything about it, Mr. Norm. I spent the evening in my room with my boyfriend, Marco.
Mr.
After
Norm.
dinner and a short hand of poker, I learned of the death of Walter Jones around 11:30 p.m.
Well, most of them are coming up with the same story.
Do you know anything about medicine?
Well, they didn't say
No,
it's at
Jack.
10:30.
I'm sorry.
I understand. Too bad that you can't help me. I see.
Well, you don't know what you see.
Good morning,
because
Inspector Jack Norm. I'm the one charged with investigating
nothing
the
to
death
learn
of
there.
Mr. Jones.
Ah, it's you who will be investigating. Very good. Good morning, Inspector. I'm Marco Jones. Walter Jones was my grandfather.
Another grandson.
I would have preferred if you had been a tourist, because you have landed on the island of Segura for a sad reason.
May I photograph your shoes?
No problem. Do as you have to, Inspector.
Joke's on him. They've all changed their shoes since then.
Thanks.
And now let's have a conversation.
It's you again, Inspector.
Um,
So,
Need to get aggressive. Settle
I'm
yourself
surprised
down.
that Coolio, even if he was angry at Jones, was not more grateful for his generosity.
I have nothing to say about that, Inspector. I don't know what you're talking about.
Doesn't know what I'm talking about. Apparently, so he says.
What do these gifts from Jones hide? Why did he want to assure the future of Coolio and his daughter?
I can say nothing on the subject, Inspector.
Because you don't want to, or because...
What can you tell me
you know
regarding the
something?
death of Walter Jones?
Or because you don't know.
How I would have loved to have done something to save my grandfather,
Oh,
but
you're
it
the- you're
was
the
too
only one
late
then.
and too dangerous. It was Noland who gave me the news. He suspects the daughter of the fisherman, but it's you who is the inspector, not me.
Seems unlikely she'd be able to manhandle
Where
such a
were
large
you
man
and
in a
what were you
wheelchair off a
doing
cliff.
last night?
I spent the evening in my room in Christina's
Oh, so
company.
she was
it
playing
was
with the
Sonia
controls
who
maybe
told
on
me
it.
around 11:30 p.m. about what had
11:30?
happened. It was difficult to believe it.
But Sonia
My
told
grandfather was a real force of nature, despite his handicap.
him. So she...
What was your relationship
So
with
she was
Walter
told at
Jones?
11:30, and then
I
she
greatly
came and told
appreciated
him.
my grandfather. Walter was a great man,
Something's
Inspector.
not adding up there.
I admired his rise to success. He did it all alone. We were very close in spite of all the old stories which my brother and my sister must have endlessly told you about.
Which stories are you talking about?
Old family quarrels. We are divided on our opinion about my grandfather,
Divided
you
on
see.
our opinion.
My brother and my sister maybe hope to involve you. As far as it concerns me, I've nothing to add.
Nothing to add.
This tower on this wild island, far from everything. Isn't it madness?
Alas, my grandfather will not have the time to successfully finish the magnificent project, of
Will
which
it
this
ever actually be
brochure gives you
finished?
only a small taste.
What luxury. For some, the world is all roses. But where did the staff go?
He sent them
I
home.
don't see them.
Indeed, Nolan told me that my grandfather had to part with his staff, but for a reason that I don't know, Inspector.
Walter
wasn't gonna pay them?
Jones gave this to Baina, didn't
Because
he?
he already knew he was going to
What
die.
were the bonds that connected them?
Really, Inspector, I didn't know. It's not the kind of thing my grandfather would do.
It's not.
Who is the rightful owner
Well,
of
actually, it's
this
not
piece
when you
of
look at what he
chain?
did to other
Sorry,
people.
Inspector Norm, but I'm afraid I won't be useful to you.
I'm wondering
Don't seem to
whose
be interested in
shoeprint
asking,
these are.
answering
I
questions.
can't be useful. I can just tell those are not mine, Inspector.
Well, you're getting a bit.
I'm told that an
defensive
accident
there.
left Baina mute. What is that about?
My grandfather was always very discreet about that. I know that he and Baina fell off the cliff right here on this island, and that it cost him the use of his limbs. As for Baina, she remained mute from the time of the tragic event. But I don't know more details about this affair, Inspector.
You don't. Okay.
What reasons could Billy have had for hating his grandfather?
Just
Our
'cause
grandfather hated the useless waste of money. Billy lost a lot of money gambling and hoped
Needless
that
to say that he
grandfather
doesn't
would
like
help
his
him
brother.
float back up, which of course he refused.
So
you don't
tell
like
me
Billy,
a little
then?
about Billy.
Billy is still a child at heart, Inspector. He still makes me laugh sometimes, but he is totally irresponsible. It's very hard for his family.
his family. I mean, your
What do you
family,
think
surely.
of Christina?
Meeting Christina was one of the most important events in my life, Inspector. She is my soulmate, my feminine other. We are in total harmony on all
Interesting.
counts.
She's a bit forward, and you know.
I would love it if you could tell me a little
Who's
about
she?
Sonia.
Sonia is my sister, and I have a lot of affection for her. She is a very strong and courageous woman.
Yeah, but she's a little bit jealous by the sound of
What do you
things.
think of Colio?
I saw Colio on several occasions, of course, but I don't know him well.
You've seen him, but doesn't know him.
What do you know about Lorenzo Battaglieri?
Lorenzo?
Lorenzo is a mystery for me, Inspector. He's a professional lightweight, bordering on an imposter, and he takes refuge in a cynical depression that's very unpleasant for others.
My stomach is growling. It's the moment to go and get a bite to eat.
Well, looks like I... Yeah, this is one of those things that seems to happen. The game will suddenly tell you, oh, it's time for dinner. So you need to do that. He's going to eat a giant piece of bread that never shortens in length. But I suppose it's good, you know?
Here we go. An efficient meal.
An efficient meal. Right, and we haven't finished talking to him.
I am entirely at your disposition, Inspector.
Yeah, because I hadn't finished talking to you.
What do you think of
Baina?
Baina?
I don't really know her, Inspector. I have nothing special to say on this subject.
No, okay.
I would like to know more about Martin.
Tell
I
us about
appreciate my
Martin.
brother-in-law's qualities, Inspector, but we don't see each other much, and I hardly know him, and that's fine with me.
What do you think of the attorney, Hubert de Noland?
Ah, Noland. He's not a nobody. He's one of the best business attorneys on this planet, Inspector. It's not by chance that my grandfather recruited him.
No, he obviously went to him.
What
and
can you tell me
hired
about
him.
Clara?
Clara is an
Didn't just come along and
extremely
go, "I want to
kind
be your
woman,
lawyer."
Inspector.
Okay.
She is almost a saint.
Don't think that's
and
how it
I
works.
don't know how she has put up with Billy for so long.
Did you see anyone at the
yeah,
Tortoise
they're-
Belvedere last evening, or did anything at all catch your attention?
Sorry, Inspector Norm, but I saw nothing. I, for one, spent
It's a bit
the
depressing
evening
just
in my
asking the
room
same
with my
questions over
girlfriend
and over
Christina.
again, isn't it? But she wasn't in her room. She said she was down playing.
Do you know anything about medicine?
She said she was playing
No.
cards.
In that case, you can't help me. I get it.
Yeah, he can't help you. Nobody can help you, I'm afraid. Just try. And we're going to go this way. Not that way. This way. We've got another elevator. Over here. I think we want to use the elevator. We need like 2 elevators to get places, I guess, because the building narrows. You need to switch elevators to one further up so we can get right up to floor 22.
Lorenzo Battaglieri's office.
Let's see what we got. Got like a wardrobe. Oh, what's that? That looks like a top with a tear, with some sort of top with a tear in it. What else have we got? And we're going to go into our PPA because I've just seen something I want to compare, which is this torn fabric, and look at that. A jacket that's torn. I think we already know that this is going to match.
Correct match.
This piece of cloth was ripped out of this gray vest. Lorenzo Battaglieri's vest.
Exactly. It's interesting, isn't it? Well, let's go this way and see what we can find. It's like a weird... Why are there so many seats in this room? Let's have a look. We've got a desk with a few different things on it. What do we have? We'll have that pencil. We've got a notepad there. We'll have that.
I have to ask Lorenzo what this machine is used for. I have to ask Lorenzo what this machine is used for.
Looking at things, obviously. What else have we got? We've got a drawer with something in it. Let's have a look what that file was. Oh, this one. File on the Sagara Tower. Dear sir, I have the honour and pleasure to confirm that your architectural project has been retained for the construction of the Jones Residence Tower. We're thus counting on you not only as an architect and director of this ambitious project, but also, as has already been said, as the technical maintenance chief for the building and its annexes for the next 10 years. I propose that we meet as soon as possible to settle any and all contractual aspects of our future relationship. Please believe, Mr. Lorenzo, that I wholeheartedly rejoice in our future collaboration. Yours truly, Walter Jones. More conversations about what he was wanting them to do, and some plans. That's exciting, isn't it? Right, we want to close that drawer, look in the other drawer. Oh, we've got a couple of things in there. There's a note there by the look of things too. Well, but not something we're able to take, apparently. Okay, but there was a file. Oh, Tower Employees Dismissal. Dear Hubert, work inspection passed by this afternoon to inflict a $25,000 fine on us and to oblige us to legally hire the 9 Maldivian employees as well as triple those salaries. Call the judge told me that the... Well, this is Madiva, but Maldiva essays behind all this. The head waiter went and complained to him that they work too much, that they're badly paid and that they do not have any work contract. In addition, Madiva wants to start a new procedure to obtain the damages and interest that we have not paid following the judgment. You know that they're in cahoots with the judge. He very immediately sent us to work. Inspectors, I'd like you to rapidly pay this $25,000 fine and to throw these 9 ingrates out in the cold. I impatiently await your turn. And those are all of the people that he's fired. Bit harsh, wouldn't you say? But, you know. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pencil. And sharpen it. The reason I'm doing that is because that gives us some graphite. And we needed that to check the fingerprints on the wheelchair. Yep, that's fine. Okay, yeah, so I think we'll leave that for today, and we'll continue with this. Well, next time. Next time we'll probably be playing We Happy Few. But until then, thank you very much for watching. You'll catch everything I'm doing on Mixer at mixer.com/Supernautus. I'm also on Twitter as Supernautus, and we upload all the videos to YouTube as Supernautus streams. So if you've missed me on Mixer here, you will find the video on YouTube, and as I say, keep an eye on Twitter, where you'll know when I'm going live. Thank you very much, and good night for now.